Welcome back to Dry Hollow Homestead. It's Danielle and we are going to do a garden tour today. Today is July 30th. Sorry, there will be sounds. We're outside. The ducks like to laugh at me every time I come outside, and the rooster likes to crow at me whenever I come out. So this is July 30th, almost the end of July. I am sorry I haven't been very good at keeping up with garden tours, but it is hot during the day and I usually come out really early in the morning and I am not prepared to film at that time. So we have some empty spots already and I will talk you through them and what we will put in their place. But I really wanted to show you before things start to just succumb to the heat, which has happened already with some things. So let's take a look. If you end up hearing children, that is why. I have a few of them. 5 of them, 5.5 of them actually right now. So here is the potato patch. I wanted to get out here and film this before we pull all the potatoes. I think we're going to do that very soon. They've already started dying back. And we pulled a couple and some are quite large. I might not have done such a great job at hilling as I thought I did. So there were some green ones, but this is my first year actually doing potatoes. Also down at the lower end down there, we have watermelon that we are going to let take over as soon as the potatoes have been pulled out. This will just be our watermelon patch. I did plant some, I think it was like classic gem or something, corn. They're like multicolored corn, not bicolored, but multicolored, like with purples and blues. But they barely came up. So yeah, I wouldn't even say we are going to get any corn. But there's plenty of weeds in there too. And we have a fig tree that we started up in the corner there. But our first garden bed, this is bed 1, starts with the tomatillos. So they are needing to be trellised up, I believe. But we've got some ways to go before we're going to be harvesting any of those tomatillos. I had a huge squash plant here. It was massive. It actually choked out some okra that I had. But in a matter of about 48 hours, it went from thriving to dying. So we went ahead and pulled him out. I need to put some stuff in here. Let me think of the word. I need to amend the soil here and then start something for the fall. I'm actually thinking I might do fall carrots here. I'm not sure. We'll see. It is so hot right now and we have a baby coming soon. Well, I'm 32 weeks now. Asparagus is still looking great. I'm so happy we actually put them in. And then we have some zinnias. And this is the okra finally starting to actually bloom. Okra is one of our family's favorites. I'm going to research and see if I have enough time, if I go ahead and put more okra seed in, if it would have time to produce before our cold snap happens. I think it probably would, I'm not sure. So more okra there with the asparagus. And if I sound out of breath, that's because I am. I'm always out of breath. This is borage that volunteered here. We're going to leave it. The bees love it. And it's got medicinal properties too. I always have big plans to do things with my garden medicinally, and then they don't always work out. But here's some more baby okra, and then some parsley, and we actually found a caterpillar in here. I think actually 2 on that, but it needs to be watered. Everything needs to be watered. I do water the garden about every 3 days. But we're supposed to have a big storm last night, and it rained for like 10 minutes, and that was it. So everything I didn't water when I was supposed to. So as soon as I'm done, I'm actually going to water. Yay! Okay, I'll come over in just a minute. Tomatoes. I'm finally starting to get some ripe tomatoes. There's the chives. Before I forget, I fought my freaking chickens. So hard. I lost between 20 and 30 green tomatoes, 2 chickens. I'm just now starting to keep them at bay, and you know what? It's not because they're finally respecting me. It's because it's too dang hot for them to come out of the shade. They have a lot of shade in the field. There's a lot of trees surrounding it, so they don't want to come out here. So now if we have a really cool day, they'll be out like a flock of freaking chickens eating my green tomatoes. But I try pulling them as soon as they start to turn That helps too, so nobody else, like the rabbits, won't get to them. We even tried putting green and red ornaments on there to try to keep them from knowing which ones was which and pecking at the ornaments and getting frustrated, but I don't know, it didn't really work that great. But they're done right now just because they're so hot they don't want to come out of their shade. We have some marigolds. I think I forgot to tell you that in the last couple of videos. I have marigolds, and I put basil seed in different places in front of my tomatoes. Not all of that came up though. So there's one. I'm actually going to pick this. He is not quite ready, but I'll let him ripen the rest of the way in the house just to make sure I get him in. Daggone it. There's those, the onions that I've left. And the sage that is permanently here. So that is bed 1. I think I showed you all of that. The tomatoes have really been doing well. I mean, there's damage. I don't stress about it. I have like 50 plants, so I don't go through and worry myself over anything with the tomato plants except getting the tomatoes when they are done. So we pulled out the cabbage out of the second bed, the beginning of the second bed. They had taken over so much, they pretty much choked out my eggplant. These are eggplants. So I have a couple eggplants up here. I'm not sure if they're going to come back or not, but I still, like I said, I need to amend this before I put any new things in here, maybe for the fall season. My friend Shelby gave me some calendula. I did not plant any this year, so I appreciate that. And then we have our chives and some very eaten up cauliflower. I didn't even realize I had another cauliflower plant there. I'll be there in a minute. She wants me to come swing. This is our Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are doing pretty good. I need to pick some of them off, but it's hot. I don't really want to. But as you can see, I got lots of damage. I don't sprinkle. I am totally organic. I don't sprinkle anything on them at all. So I get a lot of bug damage. I'm okay with that. And ground cherries. So I showed this in a reel. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should do that, because definitely if you want to know about the baby and stuff, you're going to see that first. This is a ground cherry. So when they're really ripe, they will fall off. There's one that fell off. The paper gets really thin, but they are delicious. I actually just need to do a whole bed of ground cherries and forget about the Brussels sprouts and all that stuff, but I didn't. So I have 2 of those ground cherry plants. Lettuce going to seed. More Brussels sprouts. Really a lot of Brussels sprouts, goodness gracious. Kale and celery. We're going to pick this celery as soon as I'm done filming. We're going to cut the celery off at the base, and you can get more than one cutting if you do that, and we'll go ahead and preserve it. We have oregano, some geraniums, and this is one eggplant that didn't get choked out, and it's like one of those long, I think it was like a Chinese tongue eggplant. I don't remember. We're not real big fans of eggplants, but some new varieties are fun to try. There's some thyme. These are garlic chives all over the place. It's not grass. It's not a weed, even though it looks like it. Then we have some lima beans on this trellis that connects my second bed to my third bed. It goes up and over. I have 3 trellises connecting these 2 beds. And on this side we have the loofah and some lima beans. So this is my first year growing loofah. My friend Shelby is also the one that gave me the seed for the loofah. So I have some coming. I'm excited about that. Something new. But I definitely wish I would have done some more of the lima beans. Limas are delicious, and they're really expensive locally if you're to get like farm raised or homestead raised grown lima beans. Lima beans grow in, I wonder why those are turning yellow. Not sure. Lima beans grow in a pod, and then you pick them out. I thought most people knew that, but my mom did not, so thought I would say that anyway. I definitely have some more onions in the bed. I'm not pooling them unless I need them. I only have probably about 7 or 8 more here. Last year I pulled them all and diced them and dehydrated them or froze them, but I didn't this year. I just didn't. Sometimes I do things differently and no explanation. So our second trellis that goes up and over is the beautiful purple pole beans. And this gives me adequate shade in the summer to come stand underneath while I am in the garden. And I pick a lot of beans. The beans that don't get a whole lot of sunshine won't turn as purple. But if they are in the sun, they will get completely purple. Let's see. I have already done 1 canner load, 2 huge stock pots of green beans as meals, and I've frozen some, blanched and frozen. I have never blanched and frozen any before, so I'm not sure which our favorite's going to be. But we have a lot in the in the cellar still from last year when we canned a bunch. So I'm feeling done with beans. I don't want any more. And it's funny because my Thai long beans, that's my last trellis on these 2 beds, is just now starting to produce. So they get about a foot long, 12 inches long, bean like this. We chop them and stir fry them. They don't really preserve very well. Those haven't even came on very well much yet, and I'm already done with beans. But I have chard still, which is really weird, and it doesn't even actually look that big. Maybe I'll mix that with the celery. But there's plenty of weeds. Don't think that there isn't. There's plenty. In between the first trellis back there was this chrysanthemums. Behind that first trellis on the 3rd bed was carrots. We already went ahead and pulled all the carrots. We didn't get a ton of carrots, and they're kind of small, but we enjoy them. The kids will actually just eat them straight. I mean, dirty and everything. They barely wipe them off, so that's a good thing. I have some stevia. It looks like it needs dried. It's starting to get a little bit sickly looking. I should just go ahead and cut it and dry it. More chrysanthemums behind that. And flowers here. I got St. John's wort behind the Thai long beans. That I wanted to preserve also. Like I said, there's lots of weeds right here. But I haven't done that. There's a ratio between how many leaves and how many flowers you need for tinctures. And I didn't get to it. And it's already kind of dying off. No more leaves. So tomatoes, we have this row is all tomatoes of different varieties. Mostly like the sun gold, like small tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, or grape tomatoes. My favorite of all time is a Paul Robeson, and I have 1 in the house. Like, some of them look pretty rough. This is now a Polka paste whip. Well, darn. But don't do that. You should at least let it start to ripen before you pull it off. But it's a paste tomato. It's really good too. That looks more like I'm not sure. I should have labeled everything because I was going to be talking to you, but I didn't. So yeah, lots of damage. Don't worry about it when you have this many. I mean, you can if you want, but that's not my style. A little bit of basil. My basil is pretty sad this year. But that's all that's in that whole wall. This is what I call a wall. It's a cattle panel on T-post. This whole wall right here is tomatoes. And then chamomile in the center here too. Oh, and bee balm. Like I said, I had intentions of using that for medicinal purposes. So bed number 4. We cut out the fennel. I don't think we killed it. I think it'll come back because the roots are really, really strong. But it was taking up a lot of space. And then this is the Tabasco peppers. Once we cut them out, they started to cut out the fennel. The Tabasco peppers seem to be doing a whole lot better. They were just completely choked out. And this volunteer sunflower got so big. So big. It like cracked and broke and it's leaning over. It's okay. He did well. And then I have jalapenos. 1 squash plant there. Sorry, people are yelling. My daughter's yelling at the ducks. You want to see? I'm getting the ducks out of the field because the rooster's not very kind to them. And they don't mess with the garden at all. And then this is these pepper plants are the sweet peach peppers. So I'm excited to try those. Some more I need to do a whole row of just regular bell peppers. I did not do very many of those. I like a variety, but yet I really probably should have just done more of those too. And then shishitos are one of my favorites. Sure. Shishitos are one of our favorite peppers. They are not very spicy. And there's our mad cow. Kidding. Artichoke that we already pulled everything off of. And then, oh, Sadie is angry. Mama is a lot more tame. Let me just show you real quick. That's Mama, and she is pregnant. We are actually starting calf watch. It should be middle to late July. No, August for the cow to give birth. So we're going to start keeping an eye. It's starting to look a little rough on this bed with the cucumbers. It's still beautiful though. I have some, petunias or pansies? I forget what they are. So this is our last two beds. The fourth and fifth have 3 trellises. And on 2 of the 3 trellises we have cucumbers, because last year I got like none of my cucumbers to grow, and I was frustrated. So we are in the cucumber business. I actually have cucumbers right there, need to be picked. That is fine. We are going to get pickles going probably after I'm done filming. I was trying to talk to you a little bit before I pulled everything off, but I'm also going to water the garden as soon as I'm done too. It's looking a little rough. Sadie is still learning her manners with the lead, but she's doing well. And we have, oh, some more squash. Eggs. Daisy found some eggs in the barn. Good job. So first trellis is cucumbers. The second trellis is cucumbers, but these are the burbless cucumbers that are just like for fresh eating. Mom. You want to spy a friend? She scratches her back on this apple tree. She jumps up and down. It's hilarious. I would love to get it. Maybe she'll do that in a second. But somebody missed that mowing. Mom. No, Meek, don't get in there. No. Go in. Go on. You want a green tomato? There you go. There you go. No, you stay out of here. You stay out of the garden. The last bed is just our like spaghetti squash. Our last trellis is spaghetti squash and acorn squash. No, acorn? Yeah, I think it's acorn squash. Can't remember. What is that? Butternut squash, not acorn squash. But I have had enough of the yellow squash now. I don't want to do anything else with it. I feel done. So that is this side. Like I said, the cucumber plants are looking a little bit rough. But that's okay. Our last little section is another wall, a whole wall of tomatoes. And they're really weedy, but lots of tomatoes coming on. Very happy with the amount of tomatoes we're going to be getting, as long as the chickens leave them alone. And that's it. That is our garden. Our apples and peaches are not starting to ripen yet, so I won't even take you over there. I have cow duty. I'm going to keep an eye on our Meek, who is about to have her calf in a couple weeks. And then we also have over here our goats. So maybe she'll get up, maybe she won't. She is expecting. I might have been wrong about the dates. This happens a lot to me. But she's already bagging up, and this is her first, so she won't usually bag up very long before, very far ahead. But she definitely has already started to bag up, and her mother is pregnant too. So they will both be due sometime soon. Between when Meek calves, before I give birth. The goats will give birth and the cow will give birth. And depending on who goes first is who I'm milking first. Once my cow gives birth, I will not worry about milking goats. But thank you for coming along and touring the garden with me. I just wanted to say that this has been a little over a year now. I started my first video with a garden tour last year in August. It is now like August 2nd or 3rd. I'm editing this video and noticed I didn't end my video. But I wanted to say God bless you, and I speak Jesus over you. Bye.